on a glorious Friday. Strongest blazing 5 picks of the year in an hour. This is The Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and right here on FS1, it is Halloween tomorrow. Look at Joy Taylor, my friends. The Queen has arrived.
You said go all out.
I told you, I love it. I said I wanted you to go all out.
My original plan was just to wear the red dress, and I had these at home, so it was more subtle.
This is the devil and the dude on 92.3.
I think I came as 2020.
You look fantastic.
Thank you.
Joy loves Halloween. I like 4th of July, beers and blowing stuff up. It's
another good holiday, yes.
Yeah. So it's an interesting weekend. After this weekend, Joy, it's the halfway point of the NFL season, and the trading deadline is Tuesday.
Yes.
So if you're bad after this weekend, it's going to be a lot of trades coming up Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And I want to talk about a game this weekend. It is amazing. Most people that aren't very good know it and keep quiet. And people that are good are a little cocky and feel themselves. You understand it. The great players know they're great. The great franchises know they're great. They've got a little bit of arrogance. It's institutional. I get it. But usually the people that are bad historically know it. So this weekend, the Steelers face the Baltimore Ravens. These are great organizations. Let me give you some numbers that are fascinating. In the last 20 years, 2 decades, good round number, the Steelers and the Ravens in just the AFC North have combined for 4 Super Bowl wins, 30 playoff wins. That's unbelievable. And 15 division titles. That's incredible. Do you know what the Cleveland Browns have done with those 3 boxes? 0, 0, and 0. But the Cleveland Browns are constantly upset that people diss them and laugh at them and roll our eyes and mock them and don't give them the respect they so richly deserve. Cleveland is the most over-discussed team in professional sports, the most over-discussed lousy team. We don't talk about the Lions on this show. We don't talk about the Jags. We don't talk about the Bengals much on this show. What about the Dallas Cowboys, Colin? Well, they have a rich history. They have 5 Super Bowls. They have some of the best players in league history have been Dallas Cowboys. They also, in the last decade, just the last decade, they've won their division 3 times. They have playoff wins. In the last 2 decades, Cleveland has the worst winning percentage in the entire sport. And they're constantly upset that we don't give them more press, more respect, more talk. Last week, they barely beat the Bengals, had to come from behind 3 times in the 4th quarter. And I said, it's impressive. Actually, Joe Burrow's working with nothing. He's a rookie quarterback, no preseason. What about us? What about you? You're the Bengals. You're the Browns, excuse me. In the last 20 years, the Steelers have had 2 head coaches. The Ravens have had 2 head coaches. The Browns have had 12. I mean, it's incredible. It's like the Browns have become like the reality show of the NFL. You know those reality shows? Like couples and families that have their act together never go on those shows. It's just famous losers. But you do kind of stick around because it's fun to watch them disintegrate and argue over dumb stuff that sometimes semi-famous losers do. And it's amazing with Cleveland. This weekend, Baltimore is going to play Pittsburgh. And it's just going to be Super Bowl relevance. They're both in the Super Bowl bubble. It's going to be legendary Hall of Fame coaches. It's going to be great quarterback play. It's going to be historic fan bases. It's going to be Pro Bowlers on both sides. And yet, Monday, when the Browns, probably beat the Raiders, they will wonder why we roll our eyes at it. Because 2 weeks ago you played the Steelers and got housed, and 6-7 weeks ago you played the Ravens and got housed. I always wonder, I know Brown fans think of the Steelers and the Ravens often. Do the Steelers and Ravens, do they ever just look at the Cleveland Browns and just laugh? They have to. They'd have to just laugh at the Cleveland Browns. Because the Cleveland Browns are rare. They're pathetic, and they have a swagger. They're awful, and they put their chest out. And I've got to be honest with you, it's kind of fascinating. I mean, the Lions are bad and know it. Jags are bad, rebuilding, know it. Cincinnati's bad, rebuilding, they're not cocky. Cleveland's, the Chicago Cubs were losers, but they were lovable. The Browns are obnoxious, righteous, cocky, and historically the biggest joke in the league. So I cannot wait to watch the Steelers-Ravens this weekend, but I'm going to keep my eye on the Raiders and Browns because I know if the Browns win, they're going to demand respect Monday, just like they did for beating the Bengals barely last weekend. So, we've said before, there are good losses and bad wins. That happens all the time in sports. Fans, of course, don't want to hear that. I understand that. For fans mostly, you win, it's good. You lose, it's bad. But last night was what I would call a really, really bad win for the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons have become the Detroit Lions. They're 2-6. Detroit's 3-3. But they've got really competent quarterbacks. So they're too competent to get a top 5 draft pick. Detroit's going to end up winning 4 or 5 more games. Atlanta's going to win 3 or 4 more games, and they're not going to get a top 10 pick, and they're going to stick with their quarterbacks. It's called NFL quicksand. See, New England's figured it out. Be great as long as you can. Then when you're bad, tell your players to opt out, trade players, be awful, get a great quarterback out of college, reboot, and be great again. That's what New England will do. Atlanta is in quicksand. They're too competent. Matt Ryan's just too competent at quarterback to win just 2 games. I mean, Matt Ryan this year completes 67% of his throws, 98 quarterback rating, 12 touchdowns, 4 picks. They're 2-6, and let's be honest about it, they should be 5-3. 3 times they've led a game with 2 minutes or less. They're just too. Matt Stafford is too competent. Matt Ryan is too competent. That they're going to win a bunch of games. Atlanta's going to win 3 or 4 more games. Detroit's going to win 4 or 5 more games. You're going to look up and you're going to have the 12th pick or the 15th pick, and you're going to get a cornerback from Virginia Tech or an offensive tackle from Oklahoma, and it won't change anything at all. And here's the problem with a Detroit and with an Atlanta. You don't have a top 5 or 6 great quarterback, but you've got certainly a top 12 quarterback, so they're competent. And you're locked into their contract, so it makes your job even less desirable. I mean, the Jets' job, if you have the number 1 pick and all those picks, could actually be very attractive. I could get Trevor Lawrence and 15 picks over the next, year and a half, 2 years. That's kind of attractive. So I watched Atlanta win last night, and I'm like, this is just quicksand. What would I do? What would I do if I was Atlanta? I'd trade everybody by the trading deadline Tuesday. I'd trade everybody I could, including Matt Ryan, and I'd start over. I'd lose the rest of my games. They're 2-6. I would go 2-14. That's what I would do. And then I would have a top 3 pick. I'd get another quarterback. By the way, if I trade Matt Ryan, I'm going to get 2 or 3 good picks. I would just start over. In the NFL, you want to be really good, top 5 or 6 team, or a bottom 7 or 8 team, and be horrible. I mean, in fact, even a bottom 5 team. So Atlanta's going to be in quicksand. Detroit's going to be in quicksand. They're going to get a 15th, 18th pick. And by the way, Matt Ryan and Matt Stafford are both still good enough to win a bunch of games in the NFL. They just need, the right spot. You put Matt Ryan in Indianapolis with the Colts, or you put Matt Stafford in Indianapolis with the Colts and that front office and that coach and that offensive line. Those are playoff teams. But I'm watching Atlanta last night, and I'm like, this is a terrible win. You're in quicksand. You're just too darn good at quarterback to not win 5 games. That means you don't get the quarterbacks. That means you're not going to get Trey Lance, Justin Fields, or Trevor Lawrence. I would sell everything. Everything must go. Liquidation sale. Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, take what I can, lose them all, and start over. That's what I would do. Because I look right now, and I look at the NFL, and you got to beat Patrick Mahomes and Big Ben and Lamar Jackson. Tom Brady's team is loaded. I mean, you look around the NFL, who do you have to be? Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan, McVay and Goff. That's what you got to beat to win a Super Bowl right now. Atlanta, I'd start over. I know, bad win. I'd start over. We have a bunch of stuff here. Coming up next, a team that has been great is starting over. They're not advertising it, but they're doing it, and will finalize their tanking Tuesday at the trading deadline. That's coming up. Blazing 5, Matthew McConaughey stops by today. The great famous actor is going to be joining us as well. Push yourself to the edge, go beyond, seek discomfort, no pain, no gain. All true, just not in your pants. What did I say? Time to get comfortable with Tommy John underwear. Working hard to playing hard. When you start every morning in Tommy John underwear, and I'm wearing it right now, you can do everything a little bit better. They don't have customers, they have converts. Dozens of innovations since they kicked the company off years ago. Breathable, lightweight fabric, moisture wicking, 4 times the stretch of competing brands. They have the best pair you'll ever wear, or it's free guarantee. No risk. Try Tommy John. Don't love them. They're free. And they don't do this very much, but they're offering 15% off your first order site-wide. Everything. All you have to do is go to TommyJohn.com/herd. TommyJohn.com/herd. 15% off your first order, 4 times more stretchable than every other brand on the market. Tommy John.